Hey, deserving listeners, Love is Blind. Let's watch.
We have dispute or disagreement, but the good has outweighed the bad substantially.
Yeah, you look at me.
Okay, so Chelsea was talking about how it's always been a dream of hers ever since she was a child that she wanted a sexy photo shoot with her fiance. And she's like, it's kind of weird that I have had that dream since I was a child. And yeah, it's unusual. I wouldn't say it's weird. I feel like a lot of people have aspirations or dreams about relationships and other kinds of accoutrement, like a photo shoot or a wedding or having the house on the hill, that kind of thing. So it's not unusual. It could indicate something about her personality, but I don't know. I'm sure people will speculate about, because I have a feeling like she might have some people who don't like her now, even though at the beginning of the season, or of the season, that I think a lot of people might have liked her. Anyway, but what you can't see is behind is the Union Street station, I believe it's called, and that's where my high school senior prom was at.
For you, no matter what she says. Do you think you're, like, truly, like, deeply, do you think you're ready?
I think I love you a lot.
Yeah, I think she has been picking up on signals that at least I'm interpreting as him being on the fence at the very least. And then we hear it in her reaction. She's like, do you think you're ready? And he pauses and he says, I think I love you a lot. So you can easily interpret that as he doesn't want to answer that question because he doesn't want to hurt her feelings, or he doesn't want to admit it or something, implying that he is not ready. So she receives it that way and goes, ugh. I think because it feels hurtful or it's disappointing or something. I think that's just what happened.
Will you say yes to me if it's right for you without your mom's approval?
I can't feel a thing, and I'm close to you.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think she's operating on a real level, which kind of indicates that maybe she is more wanting to get married, because she's asking some very relevant questions. They just got done talking about how his mom is still not approving of this, and she's saying, if your mom doesn't approve, would you say yes? And that's a good question, because in all likelihood, it's the mom's approval isn't going to happen in the next few days. I think she might be operating on a level a little bit more like, let's talk about it. And I think he is operating from a place of, we're not supposed to talk about it.
And he kind of overwhelmed with, I definitely don't like to see her cry.
Okay, so if you're familiar, behind and around him is what we call in Seattle the gum wall. It is an alley down by Pike Place Market. It's not Pike's Market or Pike's Place Market. It is Pike Place. People started putting their gum, and then over time, I don't know what happened. I don't even know if anyone knows. Eventually, people just started to come to the alley to stick gum on the walls because they wanted to. And then it became like a thing where, as a tourist attraction, you would go see the Space Needle, you would see Pike Place Market, and you would also go to the gum wall and you would get some gum and you would stick it there and you'd take a selfie. People will stick their business cards, like a lawyer or a therapist might literally stick with gum a business card to have advertising. You'll see that. People will make sculptures out of the gum and stick it. Depending, it might be utterly disgusting to you or delightful.
Run the overpass, run the overpass.
Okay, so I just keep that is Snoqualmie Falls, and there's a hydro plant there. If you saw Twin Peaks, the lodge is right there. I used to work there. My brother was a chef. Snoqualmie Falls and the town of Snoqualmie is not that far from where I grew up. This is east of Seattle. So I will show some pictures now of me and maybe Stacy or my family, maybe me as a kid at Snoqualmie Falls.
Without your mom's blessing.
I just feel like it's gonna be tough for me to just look at my mom and be like, you've cared for me and loved for me for 32 years, and I'm just throwing your opinion away. That's not fair. I know it's a tough scenario to be in, to be like, hey, I feel like
it feels a little, I don't know, irresponsible or short-sighted for Kwame to even go on a show like this, because I'm guessing he could have predicted that his mother would have a problem, or at least potentially. So it would but maybe he didn't know that. Maybe he thought his mom would come around or something, but it sounds not likely because he didn't seem surprised by his mom's reaction. So if he knows that and he's going on a show and then he proposes, all the while he's like, well, of course my mom's not going to approve of this. But maybe he's also thinking, well, it's a process. I'll get married and then I'll get my mom to warm up to the situation. But he's also said that if his mom doesn't sign off on it, then he doesn't know if he can marry that person. So I don't know.
I'm here for you, right? You know that, right?
I know.
You can lean on me.
When he contrasts it with Brett and Tiffany, now maybe Kwame just isn't very expressive or something, but if he says no at the altar, or she does, it certainly would make this make sense because this doesn't seem to be a relationship there.
Here in Seattle.
Listen. My April to my August are shirtless jogging months. Shirt off, run, ba. Soccer right after, okay?
Not in Seattle.
Not in Seattle.
Fur coat.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're talking about his potential transition from Portland to Seattle, and he's saying that he likes to spend a lot of time outside from April to August, and he can't do that in Seattle. Portland's weather is different. I think it's a little better in Portland, but I don't think it's much better. I don't think it's significantly better. I have friends who live in Portland, and they'll tell me about the weather, and I'll be like, oh yeah, it's pretty similar to here. Sometimes there are differences, of course, but if he was saying LA or Miami or something, then I would say, yeah, there's a huge difference in the amount of sun and the temperature and whatnot. But he can obviously have his own point of view of that.
Be honest, I know Seattle's gonna hate me for this, but like, Seattle, you're overpriced. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are Lamar Odom with Michael Jordan prices.
Yeah, it is. It's very expensive. And if you don't appreciate the town, if you don't want to live here, if you're not into the things that the town has to offer, then yeah, it is very expensive. It's not as expensive as other areas in the United States, but it's up there. Let me look. Yeah, so Seattle's number 9, and the median household income is about $100,000. Median price is $825,000. Median rent is $1,700, and more expensive cities are San Jose, San Diego, Boston, Washington D.C., Honolulu, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and New York. So yeah, it's expensive compared to New York. Well, the median monthly rent is lower in New York, and the median house price is pretty similar at $850. Median household income is lower. So how did they rank this exactly? I don't understand.
Hi. Do you miss me or do you love me?
I don't know what the fuck she's saying.
Do you like me or no?
Of course I do.
How much? Seriously. How much do you love me? Go. Not enough. You crazy bitch.
I mean, yeah, people have fun, they get drunk, and it's their bachelorette party. So there's that. By the way, they are at the Unicorn in the basement. It's I consider it a newer place in Seattle, even though I think it started about 25 years ago.
I need you to meet him.
I have to meet Paul. He's a super nice guy.
Yeah.
But what?
What do you mean butt?
You know my butt.
What is your butt? Besides your huge ass.
He's a great guy. I like him
know.
a lot. I think she deserves everything in the world, and I don't think this is it.
All right, here we go again. So Shelby has been on the show 3 times now. The first time she did what she did. The second time was at the fitting of the wedding dress, and she seemed much more in line with the way often people do react to the situation when they're protective of their friend. She's like, I'm a little skeptical of this, but, if they're in love, they're in love. And now we're back to, I think, going in the direction that we first saw Shelby.
I think you guys just both don't know him very well.
I know
that. I know. But no.
Oh, you know him after 2 months?
I know him better than you do.
No, but after 2 months?
It's, yeah. I mean, you know, people drink alcohol, and what are you going to do? I hope she doesn't drink anymore.
Do you promise to love him without distraction and comfort him in times of distress, to grow with him in mind and spirit, to always be open and honest with him, to cherish him for as long as you both shall live?
I do.
Okay, so a lot of things are pointing in that direction, not only on the day of the wedding. By the way, they're at a wedding venue, or a venue that is east of Seattle, near North Bend, I believe. You can see Mount Si. So the day of the wedding, Chelsea was saying a lot of things that seemed like she was going to say yes. And throughout the season, it looked that way as well. Kwame, though, I think we can all agree. Well, you already know what happens, but I hope we can all agree that, because sometimes I don't know if my take is shared by others, which I suppose is natural to happen. But anyway, I think Kwame's going to say no. But I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Do you, Kwame, take Chelsea to be your lawfully wedded wife?
So they posted 3 episodes, and I thought that all the weddings were going to happen. I thought there'd be a little bit of wrap up of meeting with families and the bachelorette party and the bachelor party, and then I thought they'd be all the weddings, and then because there's another episode next week on Friday, and then I thought that episode was going to be like where they all sit down in the studio, and then a couple days later there's a live reunion. But apparently all the weddings are going to happen in one episode next Friday. Including this one. So I guess we'll find out. But I guess there's only 4 weddings, right? Because Jackie and Marshall aren't getting married. So yeah, I guess it won't take that long, but I guess we have to wait. But you don't, because you have already seen it, I'm guessing. And the very next video that I post will likely just be me starting. So in your timeline, you don't have to wait. But I do. Anyway. And by the way, I never watch these coming up because they spoil it. Why would you want to spoil it? And so there you go. And everyone, please take care of yourself. Tune in next time. And getting back to the idea of taking care of yourself, I want to remind you that you deserve it. You really, really do.